Hello and welcome to a very special episode of Tables, Athers and Chairs in conjunction with Javi Media Patreon. With me at this time, I have a very, very special guest, a guy that has been in the wrestling business for over 30 years now. And like a fine wine, he gets better with age. He's worked in every major company in North America, from the WWF to WCW to ECW and TNA. It's almost as if the guy is not human. My guest at this time, he is the French-Canadian Frankenstein, PCO. PCO, welcome to the show and thank you very much for giving up your time today, man.
Well, it's my pleasure. I'm having a great day here outside in Montreal. It's beautiful, and I'm glad to be on the air with you and to do this show. We're gonna have some fun.
Oh yeah, definitely. Before we started, we were talking a little bit about the coronavirus and how it's affecting everybody. How have you been coping over the last few months?
I'm doing fantastic because I have access to. I got an 11-year-old daughter, so was her birthday. She turned 12 last night, so we had fun with small groups, with my mom and my sister. So spent some time. I can see my parents here and there, and some close people. I stay always with the same people. I don't really meet different people all the time, so we're almost like with the same people. But it's the people that I need around me. It's like Destro, who I train with, and my parents and my daughter. And most of the time, I'm running outside or I'm in the gym, and I'm taking this time to come out on the other side as a better wrestler, as a better athlete, as a better all around. So that's my goal. It's to use that time to progress and not using this time as a downer where I don't feel like doing this, don't feel like doing that. It's boring. We don't wrestle enough or things like that. So,
Yeah, during this whole break, do you find it almost like kind of a blessing that it gives you time to recharge the batteries, or would you rather be like still be in the ring and kicking ass and taking names?
no, I'd rather be in the ring and kick ass and take names and take souls because I feel like everything's been done lately during the pandemic. I'm talking about WWE, TNA, every other company. We're, I'm going to say we, as the industry of pro wrestling, we're producing content for TV, but I feel that it's getting under the radar. I don't think it is noticed that it would usually be noticed if it was some crowds there and people were not in this crisis where they would really be into what we're doing. And that's the only down point that I find about this pandemic. I mean, there's plenty of things that I don't like about the pandemic, but as far as that hurting the business, the wrestling business, it's just we produce content, but it seems like there's not that many people watching it.
Yeah, it's very difficult because as a viewer, I feel that the crowd plays such a vital role, and with there not being a live audience there to react to what you guys are doing in the ring, it kind of takes away a little bit from the action.
It takes everything away. It even takes our game away in a way that it's more mechanical now than ever. It became more mechanical with the new generation of wrestling because the new guys they didn't grew up in the independent. Not the independent, but when it was like so many wrestling territories, about 15 wrestling territories where you would interact a lot with the crowd. But still, as today, If something works well, you could stretch it longer, and if something doesn't work that well, you can go to the next phase of your match.
Back in, I think it was 1987, you began your journey into professional wrestling.
Yeah.
Did you, in your like wildest dreams, think that in 2020 you'd still be going, and not only still going, but going so strong and at such a high level?
I didn't envision my life like that, but what I did envision was what I wanted to accomplish. And of course, like every time that I would set up goals, I'd write a date on the side of the goals. So for a deadline, so because I'm really I journal a lot, and I put my daily goals, my monthly goals, my yearly goals, my 10-year goals, 20 years goals. Um, so to give me a direction or where I'm going. But I kept on I'm backing up my date for becoming a world champion, and I got other goals that I want to accomplish. But it just became something where I had to work like to do a lot of personal development in order to achieve more success in this business. And my vision of the wrestling was not like that. My first vision about wrestling was it's just about wrestling. It's got nothing to do with who I am as a person. And I was totally wrong. Also, like when you're young, you want to become world champion because you got such a massive ego that you want to be proud of saying I'm the champ, and you want the people to talk about you and your family to realize that you have accomplished a great deals of things. But as you progress in this business, I'm talking for myself, it's more about proving yourself to yourself that you gotten to be a better person, and you're doing this for the right reason, not for the ego at all. Now I'm trying to get my ego out of the equation. I'm trying to serve the fans as the best as I can. The more you give, the better you feel, and you can't ask anything if you don't give out first. So it's always. I didn't know that when I was young, and I had like uh, different, not mentors, but stars that I look up to. And to me, they weren't doing that. To me, it looks like they weren't giving that much, but they were receiving. And then I kind of got to know the whole pattern, and that totally changed the way that I'm attacking business now. It's so it became like a school for me, a school of life. Uh, to have like major goals and to achieve them, it's not about the ego, but it's about my personal growth. That's how I see it now. So that's why I've got major, huge goals, because I just want to keep on growing as a person.
One of the things I remember, and still to this day, I think that the Quebecers theme tune is one of the most brilliantly obnoxious theme tunes in WWF history. I think it's fantastic, especially the little bit in the middle where you have that little French tirade about America.
Yeah, that was an ad libbing there. Like Jim Johnson said, just make up whatever you want, in French. So we're just having fun in studio, and it came out good. So yeah, it was a really annoying song.
It was fantastic, but that's
for the crowd.
You guys were the heels.
Yeah. I think
I remember your matches against the likes of the Head Shrinkers and the Steiner brothers, Men on a Mission at WrestleMania. What were your memories back then?
No, that was awesome. I mean, I really enjoyed like the feud with the Samoans, the Head Shrinkers, the Steiner brothers, the Smoking Guns, the Men on a Mission. I mean, the tag team division meant something back then, in the WWE. Now it feels like all the titles don't mean that much except the world title. So it was cool because we had a strong tag team division and with a lot of competition and a lot of great tag teams. And so, yeah, just good memories about that. Being a heel, too. At that time, I had a lot of frustrations going on. So it was easy for me to put all my anger and my hate into that character because I wasn't that well inside, I had a lot of anger. So being a heel at that point was like, it came from my heart, most of the time.
During your WWF singles run, when you were known as Jean-Pierre Lafitte, you had a really good feud with Bret the Hitman Hart. I think, if I remember rightly, it was around about 94, 95 time.
95, yeah.
95, yeah. And I remember how you stole his glasses, his sunglasses.
Jackets.
You stole his jacket as well, and you ended up having a really, really good pay-per-view match. I think it was In Your House 3.
Yeah. And the following night on Monday Night Raw was good too. And basically had like a nice feud with Bret for 3 to 4 months, which was great. Because Bret growing up was, because I got like probably like 10, 12 years difference of age with him. And growing up, same with my partner, Jacques, growing up, I was a fan of them, because when I was 14, all these guys were like working on top and they were drawing massive crowds. So before I became their opponent and their partners, I was a fan. So even like when I was talking about the tag team division in WWE in 93, 94, 95, up until 98, because we came back later on as the Quebecers with a different gimmick a little bit, but the same name. And we wrestled the Road Warriors so many times. And growing up, Road Warriors, even King Tonga, they were all my top heroes. So Rick Martel. So it was a cool time.
Must have been nice as well for you from a personal point of view. You say that you had that admiration for Bret Hart. He was very complimentary of the match feud that you two had.
I think we got along great. I never had like any issues with Bret. Like you hear a lot of things on different podcasts or shoot interviews. You hear different things about top guys working with him and being difficult to work with. But for me, major things that I can say about Bret, it was really professional. When he knew he had a pay-per-view match, like he really wanted to steal the show. He really wanted to have the best match of the evening. And he would go a long way in order to do this. Like he would give me his phone number so I could call him maybe a month before pay-per-view time just to start, crashing, banging heads together and throwing some ideas at each other. What was my best move that I like to do? What was his thoughts, how he envisioned the thing. And I thought that was really professional because other than having a match with Bret, it was not easy to get hold of for any wrestler. Like he wouldn't give his phone number to anyone, basically, or if you would call his house, like you could never get him on the phone. He had that reputation sometimes for being late and not worrying about things. But every time I've wrestled him on pay-per-views or Raw, he was there early, he'd do all his promos, and he'd make sure we had enough time to get a good match together. He was really, really professional about it. And when we were on the road after that, it was we knew each other so much and so well that we didn't have to talk that much. So he could do basically what he wanted to do. I could walk to the ring and knew what I had to do. So our shows were like easy.
Another part of your singles run that you were involved with was the infamous Brawl for All. I was wondering if you could talk slightly about that, and if you were aware of the Dark Side of the Ring documentary that covered it.
Of course.
If they tried to get in touch with you and tried to make you part of the show.
No, I wish they would contact me. because I had so much, because I was involved in a major way, and that what I'm saying in a major way is that tournament was designed for Dr. Det to win the tournament, but it was also it came about with Vince Russo, and Bradshaw was bragging about that he was the toughest guy in the wrestling locker rooms and things like that. I think personally why I would have to talk to those guys, it's because for me, I thought it was something personal, because I just had tons of problems with Kevin Nash and Shawn Michaels back then, which today, if I see any of them, I like both of them. They've been really cool with me. We will feed that one-eye guy to the toughest wrestler, because that's the reputation that Steve Williams had. He had the reputation to be a bully, to kick people's ass, to beat them up, to be like basically a brute and a machine, and he was supposed to win that tournament without a shadow of a doubt. So they called me up, Bruce Pritchard, and he said, "Well, Vince got a great idea for you," and I got all excited, and they said, "Yeah, you're gonna, we're doing a brawl for all thing. It's a shoot fight, takedown, sponge, boxing gloves, blah blah blah, and your first opponent will be Dr. Det, Steve Williams." And a lot of guys were backing up. I remember Ken Shamrock didn't want to enter that tournament, because he's good on the ground and he couldn't use his hands because we had boxing gloves, so he didn't want to swing gloves with 300-pound guys. And I didn't back up, and I went. And before the fight, Hawk of the Road Warriors came up to me, and he said, "Man, Steve, he's gonna kill you out there." So Steve is saying, if you're afraid or whatever, when he tags you, just take a dive and pick up your $5,000. And I was so mad. I was so pissed. And I look at Hawk and I said, "Mike, go back to Steve and tell him that," I don't know if I can swear on your program.
Oh, go for it. Totally.
And I said, "Tell him to go fuck himself with his fucking, I'm not going to take a dive for him." I was super mad. Like, I went off.
Disrespected.
Oh, yeah, I went off on Mike. And I told him, just tell him to go fuck himself. He's into the fight of his life. And then he said, "Okay, brother, I'm just, don't get mad at me. I'm just relaying the message, And I know that. So we went like the distance. Basically, it was like 8 seconds left. Then even came close to knock me out. The thing is, I only had a 1 week notice to train for this, and I brought a coach with me on the road. And when I was supposed to get on, they knew I had a coach with me and all this. They postponed it for another week. So I'd spent $3,000 on my coach that I couldn't use. So the next time around, I didn't bring any coach because I said, maybe if I bring a coach again, they might not use me again. So it's just costing me money, and I just went along with what the word they wanted, which way they want to do it. And I felt like I gained a lot of respect from Vince and Bruce Pritchard. I wish I had more time to train for, and my goal, basically, in my mind, was to win this tournament. I believe that I could have won this. The thing is, I only had a 1 week notice to train for this, and I brought a coach with me on the road. And when I was supposed to get on, they knew I had a coach with me and all this. They postponed it for another week. So I'd spent $3,000 on my coach that I couldn't use. So the next time around, I didn't bring any coach because I said, maybe if I bring a coach again, they might not use me again. So it's just costing me money, and I just went along with what the word they wanted, which way they want to do it. And I felt like I gained a lot of respect from Vince and Bruce Pritchard. So that's it. But I wish I had more time to train for, and my goal, basically in my mind, was to win this tournament. I believe that I could have won this.
What was the general feeling from the guys in the back over the tournament as a whole? Did they think that it was like, as you said, just something to give Dr. Death a push? Did they think that it was a bit weird having shoot fighting on a wrestling show?
Yeah, a lot of guys turned it down. Like Jacques Rougeau turned it down. Many guys turned it down. Maybe 10, 12 guys turned it down. They didn't want. I'm into pro wrestling. I'm not a fighter. It's a different cardio. It's a different workout. Everything's different. You don't put the efforts. Everybody's trying for a big bomb. Nobody's like compact and short, and there's no technique. It made us look like, because we don't have any boxing skills, or it was taking us out of our basically. So, and everybody that was in the tournament thought that was like kind of stupid.
You're also risking injuries to your guys.
Oh, I'd say half of the guys that participated in Brawl for All got injured. Neck injury, so many injuries. Everybody got injured. And but that one thing, people didn't care. Like the fans, they didn't care. They thought it was boring. So for ratings and for business, it was poor. But for the boys, it was sold out at the monitor every fight. Everybody wanted to know.
The curtain sellout.
The curtain, plus, especially you always have a TV with some chairs in the back. And let's say you have like 30 chairs, 25 chairs, you probably ended up with 50 people watching it. So it was totally sold out. Like guys would literally like lace us up the boots and being ready so they could watch that shoot fight before they get on with their match. So, but it was a great experience.
You spent a lot of time in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
International Wrestling Alliance. Puerto Rico's got a bit of a reputation as the Wild West. Fans take it like ultra super seriously. Have you got any tales from your time in Puerto Rico?
Oh yeah, the first time, that's where I met Jacques actually in 1993, because I had been there for 6 months, and I had already witnessed like 2 shootings in the streets and a huge hold up. Like at a Denny's I was eating at night. It was like after a show, 3 a.m. A couple of guys came with some guns and started taking the jewels and the purse from everybody, and that was pretty violent. They were shooting on the floor, shooting on the roof, and yeah, over there I feel like every wrestler carries a gun like in their wrestling bag. And it's a rough neighbor, depending where you are. But I was in Isla Verde, just by the airport, and it was a tough neighbor there. I've seen some rough things. It was
so
like,
what are the fans like there as well at actual matches? I've heard
super violent,
throwing
violent.
batteries at the wrestlers and
throwing all kinds of stuff like soda cans, batteries, rocks. Because most of the times you're wrestling in a baseball stadium, so if you could get some rocks on the ringside and throw it at you, they'll do that. And, it could easily go to like maybe not anymore, but if you go back a few years, I was there in 93 and in 2005, and even in 2005, like it was a super violent crowd. Well, they really, I mean, there's no point there doing a moonsault or doing something fancy. They really liked a good fight, they don't really pop for spots. So it's they like tough guy, and you can do some fancy stuff, but that's not what's gonna get you over there.
In 2011, you took a step away from wrestling, and you came back again in 2016. What prompted you first to take a step into retirement, and what made you come back?
Well, I didn't really want to retire. What I did, I was doing like a live radio show, and the host of the show asked me if what was going on with my wrestling career, and at that point, nothing was going on. Like I felt like I had like a bunch of tryouts between 201 and 208 with WWE. And some were like sometimes crowds going crazy. Felt like the roof was coming off of the arena. Awesome match. Some of their matches weren't that good. But overall, I felt like I've tried everything. And nothing was working for me, basically. Then I always had the same answer. Creative don't have anything for you. So it always came down to that. Then things started to really click really well. Like almost like synchronicity was like perfect. Like then I started to wrestle back here, back home, and then someone from India, Michael Blandon from Black Label Pro in Indiana, saw something on YouTube, contacted me. I went there. I've wrestled All Ego Ethan Page from TNA, but at the time he was just doing the indies, and we we crushed it. We killed it. And Joey Janela was watching. A bunch of guys, all the guys were watching my match because they haven't seen me work in a long time. It's just like when I was saying synchronicity, I did the match with Paige, and then Joey was there, and then Joey to invite me at WrestleMania 34 weekend for the spring break too, and putting me with the perfect opponent for me, Walter. And then I had known Walter in WXW when he was 16. Now he was like 28. So we had a little bit of chemistry. A match like blew up like on the internet. It was like viral all over the place. And I'm there main eventing every indie company from that point on. The Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast, PWG 2018 Pro Wrestling, Guerrilla in LA, Beyond Wrestling, all the top wrestling company on the indie sides, and then Marty's girl contacted me, the Young Bucks contacted me, Cody Rhodes, and eventually Ring of Honor. And then, so it's weird because I've wrestled Marty when he broke in with Nick Aldis, and I had met Nick Aldis on the different indie shows, and so I was always good, Like I said, it was a process for me, and I remember in England in 2007, I was even like helping out the guys with building up the ring and taking it down and things like that. It was no ego whatsoever, just trying to be cool with everybody, and that's what helped me out, just because Marty was in a good spot. He contacted me, and I decided to go with Ring of Honor. After many discussions and things like that, I decided that was going to be my choice.
I think that he did as much for you as you did as much for him in that match. I think it's a match that really put both of you on the map. It was It was an absolute war. It was incredible seeing the state of both of your chests at the end of the match.
Yeah, especially
It really
mine.
was
But
something that was just incredible. That, like you say, went totally viral.
yeah, everything was like clicked so much between. I've had other matches after that with Walter, but we always had great matches. But this one clicked different than the other ones. It was just a perfect match. No, I was Rocky in Russia, basically, where crowd didn't give me much chance, didn't know what I was doing there or whatever. And from halfway into the match, I think at one point we started to exchange a long series of chops back and forth. And then I started to like moonsault on the outside, spring-legged moonsault, all kinds of stuff, like building up, and then all the way to the finish. And the crowd came on glue at the end. It was like a big standing ovation. That goes up there with some of my favorite matches. My match with Brett in Your House 3, my match the next night on Monday Night Raw, and that match with Walter, and also winning the tag straps, but then winning the world title. But let's say those three matches. Just I'm not counting the title matches. Just those three are my top three matches. Walter, Rougeau's retirement match, and Brett's match. They are my top three matches.
Mentioned before about the Walter match going viral. The actual character itself of PCO, that's something that's kind of gone viral as well, with the way that you've presented it with the whole Monday Night PCO.
Yeah.
The minute you're doing the whole PCO Justice web series type thing.
Yeah.
Is that a very deliberate thing to kind of keep the character at the forefront? Because you see now a lot of wrestlers, they're all very, very good athletes. They're all very athletic, great cardio, great look, but they're all very similar. Whereas you've got this character that really, really stands out, especially in today's wrestling scene where everything's a little bit cookie cutter. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, since I came out, a lot of monsters came out after me. You know, well, whether it's just a period of time like that, or a correlation, or no correlation, or people thought, why he's getting over, right? Another one can probably get over like that. Whatever the reasons are, I think I was a precursor of the monsters at that time. And yeah, because I felt like, okay, when they announced Spring Break match against Walter, I needed to give like the people, the fans, something to where I was at in my career. So I wanted them to know how crazy I was and what I could do and what type of workout I was doing with distro. And also it was kind of easy. Right after the match with Walter, everybody's talking about the resurrection of PCO, but I knew the resurrection had happened before, in a way that it was a true resurrection for me, in a way that I totally, the way I was looking at the business and the way that I was looking at what happened in my career. At first, I was blaming everybody for my non-success or my failures. But once I got the chance to really dig down inside myself, and I realized that I was the one who was creating all those problems, that I could work on myself, change my mindset, then it created a resurrection by itself. And it happened on the real side of myself and on the figurative side of myself, in the ring and for real. So from that point on, the electricity was like what brought me back to life, but it was the work on myself prior to that. So it was crisscrossing like that. So it was really cool.
I mean, looking at some of the videos, especially the kind of Monday night PCO videos, some of like the feats of strength or endurance, you've got yourself bending a 12-inch nail in half. You've got yourself sitting on a bed of nails and having cinder blocks broken on your chest. You're lifting weights while D. Destro's throwing darts at you. All of this stuff, it just really comes to the forefront. It sticks in the fan's mind. It's a presentation that really does capture the fan's imagination. Was it all your idea, or was D. Destro not only like a very good part of the presentation, but did he have an influence in the presentation as well?
Yeah, big influence on the presentation. First of all, Destro was the one who came up with the idea, the electricity, and the name, because he grew up in Boston, and he grew up watching monsters, and he's older than me, and also he's a master of feats of strength himself. So for him, like he didn't want to do the feats of strength because he's not the wrestler, and he really wanted to help me get over. So he was teaching me everything about them, and he was living his passion through me and helping me getting over in the meantime. So it was a really, really good relationship. It's been a really good mentor for me as far as different stuff. Also, I'm still working on some stuff to help, get over and things like that as my character. So because I'm far away yet, one thing, there's two things. First, I'm far away from achieving all the goals that I wanted to achieve, but I feel I'm on the right path. Second thing, everything that I've done for me doesn't count anymore. It's like it's in the past, and the past don't count. It's cool to talk about it because it brought me where I am today, but I'm not going to sit on a world title or sit on a great ending career. I got to work hard every day, and I got to surpass myself, be better than yesterday. And I got to work harder now than I ever worked. So that's the mindset right now. And like I said, I journal a lot. I got a lot of goals, daily goals, monthly goals, and I'm shooting for them. Shooting hard for them.
With that being said, as we're going to wrap up round about now, what would you say is left for you to achieve in the wrestling business? What is your main final goal before you hang up the boots for good?
Yeah, the main one, there's a couple, but one of the main one is to fill up the Montreal Olympic Stadium, which is like the O2 Arena in England. It's 80,000 seats. So I just don't want to wrestle at the stadium in front of, less than 80,000 people. I really want to sell it out, and I want it. Hopefully we can with what we're living right now, COVID and all this. But I planned it for 2022. So I'm gonna make everything in position for that. I gotta just plan everything, and half of the thing that I can do by myself, and the other half is gonna happen organically. But I don't have the control over that. But I would like to be like the all-time ratings for a pay-per-view, a great gate, and one of the all-time great gates for like a WrestleMania or something like that for the stadium, and just doing well, and having people all over the world coming in to watch, and also watching it on pay-per-view, and that's one of the major accomplishment that I envision. And after that, we'll see if I can run a year on this. if I can have a good year run from that feat, and that would pretty much I just get a good run out of that, and after that, that would be. I think I just want to impact the wrestling and inspire as many wrestlers and many people that I can, because I've been inspired by so many. And like I said, it's what I can give more than what I can get. So yeah, I'm talking about the stadium, but in order to do that, I want to give as much as I can. Uh, Tricks, knowledge, sharing things, helping guys out if they want me to help them out, if they have questions. I'm always open to that. I'm not the type of guy who will go to someone and say, "Hey, I watch your match. You shouldn't do that." I'm I'm totally like silence. But if someone asks me something, then I'll share with him what I think would work best. But that's the way I operate.
Well, I think that one day there should definitely be a book or a film about your career. It's been such a fascinating journey up to this point, and we're not even finished yet. Hopefully, the stadium show does happen. I hope that we can one day return to the days where fans are allowed back, not just at wrestling, but at other sporting events, at cinemas, and
Yeah.
just allowed to go about our daily business. PCO, thank you very much for your time. Is there anything that you want to plug, any social medias before we let you go?
No, but you can always watch like some Monday PCO Justice, some Monday Night PCO Industrial on my Twitter handle at PCO is not human, and it's the same handle for my Facebook, Instagram, and you can also access everything on my YouTube page, Pierre Caldwell at PCO, and that's basically that. Yeah, that's as simple as that.
Awesome. Thank you very much for joining us today on Tables, Others in Chairs, a joint production with Hammy Media Group, Patreon, PCO. Thank you for your time, and stay safe this winter.
Yeah, you too. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Bye bye.